The whispers started quietly in the exclusive hills of Montecito, but now they've exploded into a full-blown Hollywood scandal that's rocking the entertainment industry to its core. Senior Hollywood sources are revealing something absolutely devastating about Meghan Markle. And trust me, this goes way deeper than anyone imagined. Agents and publicists across Los Angeles are now actively warning their A-list clients to avoid being photographed with the woman who still desperately clings to her Duchess of Sussex title. We're talking about an unprecedented level of toxicity that's making industry professionals treat her like radioactive waste. According to insiders who spoke on condition of anonymity, the instructions being given to Hollywood's biggest names are crystal clear and brutally direct. Even if you're friends with Meghan Markle, even if you find yourself at the same Montecito charity event or private dinner party, refuse to be photographed under any circumstances. The word coming down from the top talent agencies is that any commercial tie-up with this woman would now be considered so toxic to an A-lister that it simply wouldn't be palatable to their brand. But here's where it gets really shocking. This isn't just about avoiding business partnerships or endorsement deals. We're talking about agents literally telling their clients to dodge photo opportunities at social gatherings. Picture this scene. Hollywood's elite are now strategically positioning themselves at parties to avoid accidentally ending up in the same frame as Meghan. It's like she's carrying some kind of career-destroying curse that nobody wants to catch. The level of paranoia surrounding Meghan's presence in Hollywood circles has reached fever pitch. Sources reveal that some celebrities have actually left events early when they discovered she was in attendance rather than risk any potential association. This represents the complete collapse of a woman who was once so desperate to have the A-list as part of her life that she invited celebrities to a royal wedding who she had never even met. The contrast couldn't be more stark or more humiliating. What makes this situation even more devastating is that this blacklisting isn't coming from some coordinated conspiracy against her. It's an organic response from an industry that has simply had enough. The entertainment business thrives on relationships, trust, and mutual benefit. But Meghan has systematically destroyed every bridge she's tried to build. The very people she courted so aggressively when she first arrived in California are now the ones leading the charge to distance themselves from her toxic brand. But that's just the beginning of this Hollywood nightmare. The transformation from Hollywood darling to industry pariah didn't happen overnight. But the speed of Meghan's fall from grace has left even seasoned entertainment veterans absolutely stunned. Remember when she first arrived in California with Prince Harry, and every major publication was calling them Hollywood's new power couple? Those days feel like a distant memory now because what we're witnessing is the complete and utter destruction of what could have been one of the most powerful brands in entertainment history. Industry insiders are now revealing the exact moment when everything changed for Meghan in Hollywood circles. It wasn't a single catastrophic event, but rather a series of calculated moves that systematically alienated every major player who had initially welcomed her with open arms. The Oprah interview was the first major red flag for many celebrities, but it was the relentless attacks on the royal family that really sealed her fate. Hollywood operates on loyalty and discretion, and watching Meghan publicly demolish her own family for money sent chills down the spines of A-listers who suddenly realized they could be next. Sources close to major talent agencies are painting a picture that's even more damaging than anyone suspected. The problem isn't just that Meghan burned bridges with the royal family, it's that she revealed herself to be someone who would sell out anyone for the right price. When you're dealing with celebrities who have billion-dollar empires and carefully crafted public images, the last thing they want is someone in their circle who might spill their secrets to the highest bidder. The message became clear. If she could betray a 1,000-year-old institution for a Netflix deal, what would stop her from betraying a friendship for the right tabloid offer? But here's what's really devastating about Meghan's current situation. She's not just being avoided by A-listers. She's being actively studied as a cautionary tale about how not to handle fame and influence. Entertainment executives are literally using her career trajectory as an example of what happens when you prioritize short-term financial gain over long-term relationship building. The woman who once sat in the royal box at Wimbledon is now being used as a masterclass in professional self-destruction. The toxic brand reality extends far beyond just personal relationships. Major studios, streaming platforms, and production companies are now hesitant to attach their names to any project involving Meghan because of the negative associations. Her brand has become synonymous with drama, controversy, and failure. Even Netflix, who gave her and Harry an $87 million deal, are reportedly having serious conversations about the return on their investment. When your own business partners are questioning your value, you know you've reached a point of no return. And the most crushing part of this toxic brand reality, Meghan created every single bit of it herself. but she's completely convinced that everyone else is to blame. What we're about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind, because Meghan Markle has descended into a level of paranoid delusion that's honestly terrifying to witness. According to explosive new reporting from veteran tabloid journalist Matthew Acton, Meghan has convinced herself that there's a coordinated showbiz conspiracy specifically designed to destroy her career. But the most shocking part isn't that she believes this conspiracy exists. It's the specific example that's supposedly proving her theory, and it involves none other than Taylor Swift. Picture this absolutely unhinged scenario. Meghan Markle genuinely believes that Taylor Swift deliberately timed her engagement announcement to Travis Kelce to coincide with the launch of her Netflix series with Love Meghan. She's convinced that one of the world's biggest superstars sat down with her team and said, "Let's make sure we announce this life-changing personal milestone on the exact same day that Meghan Markle launches her lifestyle show." The level of self-importance and delusion required to believe that Taylor Swift even knows when your Netflix series is premiering is staggering. Sources close to Meghan are revealing that she's developed what she calls the dark PR arts theory. She's convinced that powerful forces in Hollywood are using sophisticated public relations tactics to deliberately overshadow every single one of her projects. According to insiders speaking to Radar Online, Meghan told friends that Taylor's engagement announcement was just the latest blow in what she sees as a coordinated conspiracy campaign against her efforts. The irony here is absolutely mind-blowing, because if anyone in this scenario is guilty of employing dark PR arts, it's Meghan herself. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that Meghan seems to have conveniently forgotten. She hired Sunshine Sachs, one of Hollywood's most notorious PR agencies, specifically known for their aggressive and often underhanded tactics. This is the same woman who allegedly used bot networks and paid social media campaigns to attack anyone who criticized her. The Sussex Squad, her army of online trolls, has been terrorizing critics for years, using exactly the kind of dark PR arts she's now accusing others of employing. The projection is so obvious it would be laughable if it weren't so disturbing. But here's where the delusion gets even more twisted. Meghan is reportedly telling people that she sees herself as a Princess Diana-type figure in this situation, convinced that the same forces that supposedly targeted Diana are now coming after her. This comparison is not only completely delusional, it's deeply offensive to Diana's memory and incredibly damaging to Harry's mental health. The woman who married into the most famous family in the world and then systematically destroyed those relationships for money is now positioning herself as a victim of the same caliber as Princess Diana. The conspiracy delusion reveals something much darker about Meghan's mental state, and it's about to get even more disturbing. What happened with Dolly Parton has left Meghan Markle absolutely shattered. And when you understand the full story, you'll realize just how devastating this rejection really was. Dolly Parton is literally one of the most generous celebrities on the planet, someone who rarely says no to collaboration requests and has built her entire career on lifting up other people. For someone like Dolly to deliver a hard no to Meghan Markle speaks volumes about how toxic her brand has become, even to the kindest stars in the entertainment industry. Sources close to the situation are revealing that Meghan approached Dolly about appearing on With Love Meghan, convinced that landing the country music legend would bring her instant credibility and respectability. In Meghan's mind, having Dolly Parton associated with her lifestyle brand would have been the ultimate endorsement, a signal to the rest of Hollywood that she was still worth investing in. The rejection hit so hard that insiders describe Meghan as being completely devastated by Dolly's refusal to participate. But here's where Meghan's paranoid delusion reaches truly unhinged levels. According to sources speaking to Radar Online, when Dolly declined to appear on her show, Meghan immediately became convinced that Kate Middleton's influence was behind the rejection. She's apparently telling people that there's a quiet effort to undercut her orchestrated from across the Atlantic by the royal family. The idea that the Princess of Wales is personally calling up Dolly Parton to sabotage Meghan's lifestyle show is so ridiculous that it belongs in a psychological thriller, not real life. Let's think about this rationally for just a moment. Dolly Parton is a genuine Anglophile who has performed for British royalty and has deep respect for the monarchy as an institution. She's someone who understands the importance of discretion and loyalty, values that Meghan has consistently demonstrated she doesn't possess. When you've spent years publicly attacking the royal family and positioning yourself as their enemy, why would someone like Dolly want to associate with that kind of toxic drama? It's not a conspiracy, it's common sense. The Dolly situation perfectly encapsulates everything that's wrong with Meghan's approach to Hollywood relationships. She thought she could leverage the Duchess of Sussex title to secure collaborations with major stars, but she fundamentally misunderstood how the entertainment industry actually works. Celebrities don't just care about titles, they care about character, reliability, and mutual respect. Meghan has demonstrated none of these qualities, and now she's facing the consequences. What makes this rejection even more humiliating is that Dolly Parton is exactly the kind of celebrity who would normally be perfect for Meghan's brand. She's beloved, uncontroversial, and represents everything positive about American entertainment. If someone like Dolly won't work with you, it sends a clear message to every other celebrity in Hollywood about where you stand in the industry hierarchy. But the Dolly Parton devastation is just one symptom of a much deeper problem, and it's about to get even more disturbing. What Meghan Markle is doing to Prince Harry's mental health by constantly invoking Princess Diana's memory is nothing short of psychological manipulation, and it represents one of the most disturbing aspects of their entire relationship. Sources are revealing that Meghan has convinced Harry that the same forces that supposedly targeted his mother are now coming after them, and she's using this twisted narrative to justify every failure and setback in their Hollywood careers. This isn't just delusional thinking, it's actively destructive to the mental well-being of a man who's already struggled with trauma related to his mother's death. The comparison between Meghan's situation and Princess Diana's circumstances is so fundamentally flawed that it borders on insulting to Diana's memory. Princess Diana was trapped in a loveless marriage, struggling with mental health issues, and genuinely being targeted by certain elements within the royal establishment. Meghan, on the other hand, chose to leave the royal family, chose to attack them publicly, and chose to prioritize financial gain over family relationships. These situations couldn't be more different, yet Meghan continues to position herself as Diana's spiritual successor in terms of victimhood. According to sources close to the situation, Meghan regularly tells Harry that they're facing the same kind of coordinated campaign that Diana endured. She's convinced him that every negative story, every failed project, and every celebrity rejection is part of a broader plot to destroy them. This paranoid worldview isn't just affecting Harry's relationship with his family, it's warping his entire perception of reality. The man who once spoke openly about getting therapy and dealing with his trauma is now being fed a steady diet of conspiracy theories by his own wife. But here's what's truly sickening about this Diana comparison. Meghan is exploiting Harry's deepest trauma for her own benefit. She knows that mentioning his mother's supposed persecution will trigger his protective instincts and his fear of losing another important woman in his life. It's emotional manipulation of the highest order, using a man's grief and trauma as tools to maintain control over him and justify her own failures. The fact that she's willing to weaponize Diana's memory this way reveals something truly dark about her character. The most heartbreaking part of this whole situation is watching what it's doing to Harry himself. In recent interviews, he started parroting these same conspiracy theories about threats to their safety and coordinated campaigns against them. The confident, charismatic prince who once charmed the world has been replaced by a paranoid, isolated man who sees enemies everywhere. His own family members, including his brother William, are reportedly deeply concerned about his mental state and the influence Meghan is having on his psychological well-being. What makes this Diana comparison even more offensive is the context in which it's being used. Princess Diana faced genuine persecution and tragedy, while Meghan is using these same narratives to explain why Dolly Parton won't appear on her lifestyle show. The scale of self-importance required to equate these situations is staggering, and it shows just how disconnected from reality Meghan has become. And the most tragic part, this twisted invocation of Diana's memory is destroying the very relationships that could actually help Harry heal. The celebrity migration away from Meghan and Harry, and back toward the real royals, is happening so dramatically that it's like watching a nature documentary about animal herds sensing danger and moving to safer territory. What we're witnessing is the complete collapse of Meghan's carefully constructed Hollywood social circle, as A-listers who once courted her attention are now actively choosing sides, and they're not choosing hers. The constellation of stars now aligned with William and Kate reads like a who's who of entertainment royalty, and it's driving Meghan absolutely insane with jealousy. Let's start with the most painful rejections for Meghan, beginning with David and Victoria Beckham. These were supposed to be her gateway into the highest echelons of celebrity culture. But Meghan completely destroyed that relationship through her own paranoid accusations. She wrongly accused Victoria Beckham of leaking stories about her to the press, a claim that was not only false but incredibly insulting to someone who had genuinely tried to welcome her into their circle. The Beckhams, who are now regular fixtures at royal events and maintain close relationships with William and Kate, represent everything Meghan thought she could have but systematically destroyed through her own behavior. Then there's the George and Amal Clooney situation, which perfectly illustrates how Meghan fundamentally misunderstood celebrity culture from the very beginning. She invited the Clooneys to her wedding despite having never actually built a real relationship with them, treating them like props in her royal fantasy rather than genuine friends. George and Amal, being sophisticated individuals who understand the importance of authentic relationships, saw right through this superficial approach. Now they're part of the constellation of celebrities who maintain warm relationships with the working royals while keeping their distance from the Sussex circus. But perhaps the most devastating example of this A-list exodus is what happened at Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert in London. While Meghan attended the Los Angeles shows and failed to secure any kind of personal meeting or photo opportunity with Taylor, Prince William, Prince George and Princess Charlotte not only attended the London concert but were invited backstage for a private meet and greet. The symbolism couldn't be clearer. The world's biggest pop star chose the future king over the self-styled Hollywood royalty, and the photos of that backstage meeting sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. What's particularly telling about this celebrity migration is that it's not being driven by any kind of coordinated campaign or royal pressure. These stars are making calculated decisions about which relationships serve their long-term interests and legacy goals. Celebrities like Taylor Swift, the Beckhams, and the Clooneys aren't just thinking about money. They're thinking about how they'll be remembered in history. Being friends with the future king and queen carries a gravitas and permanence that association with reality TV royalty simply cannot match. Hollywood sources are revealing that Meghan is becoming increasingly isolated within celebrity circles, with many A-listers actively avoiding events where she might be present. The woman who once dreamed of being the bridge between Hollywood and royalty has instead become a cautionary tale about what happens when you choose short-term controversy over long-term relationship building. The irony is devastating. In trying to leverage her royal connections for Hollywood success, she's ended up losing both the royal family and the respect of the entertainment industry. But the most crushing part of this A-list exodus is that it's exposing the fundamental flaw in Meghan's entire Hollywood strategy. Behind the scenes at Netflix, executives are having conversations about Meghan Markle that would absolutely mortify her if she knew what was really being said. According to industry insiders, while Meghan continues to push her conspiracy theories about deliberate sabotage and coordinated campaigns against her projects, Netflix executives are privately dismissing these claims as the desperate excuses of someone who simply cannot deliver on her promises. The streaming giant that once saw the Sussexes as a golden ticket to prestige content is now questioning whether their $87 million investment was one of the biggest mistakes in company history. The numbers surrounding Meghan's Netflix projects paint a picture of consistent failure that no amount of conspiracy theories can explain away. With Love Meghan, her lifestyle series that she was convinced would establish her as the next Martha Stewart, has struggled to generate any meaningful buzz or viewership. The launch was so poorly executed that even with the full marketing power of Netflix behind it, the show barely registered on social media or in mainstream conversation. When Taylor Swift's engagement announcement completely overshadowed the premiere, it wasn't because of some coordinated conspiracy. It was because nobody was paying attention to Meghan's show in the first place. But here's where it gets really embarrassing for Meghan. Netflix executives are reportedly telling people in private meetings that they've never worked with a talent who was so convinced that external forces were responsible for their failures. While other creators focus on improving their content, developing better marketing strategies, or building authentic audience connections, Meghan spends her time crafting elaborate theories about why everyone is out to get her. This victim mentality has made her virtually impossible to work with, according to sources familiar with the production process. The contrast between Meghan's conspiracy theories and the reality of her Netflix performance becomes even more stark when you look at what successful creators are doing differently. Shows that launch on the same platform manage to generate genuine excitement, authentic social media engagement, and measurable audience growth. The difference isn't that these other creators have some kind of special protection from sabotage. It's that they're producing content that people actually want to watch, and talking about their work in ways that don't alienate potential viewers. Sources within Netflix are also revealing that Meghan's demands and expectations have become increasingly unrealistic as her projects continue to underperform. She allegedly expects the same level of promotional support and marketing budget as established Netflix stars, despite consistently failing to deliver the audience numbers that would justify that investment. The entitlement and lack of self-awareness have created a toxic working relationship that's making executives question whether they want to continue the partnership beyond their current contractual obligations. Perhaps most damaging of all is how Meghan's conspiracy theories are affecting her ability to learn from her failures and improve future projects. Instead of analyzing what went wrong with previous launches and adjusting her approach accordingly, she's convinced that the problems lie entirely with external sabotage rather than her own strategic decisions. This mindset makes growth and improvement virtually impossible, creating a cycle of failure that's becoming increasingly expensive for Netflix to subsidize. And the most devastating part of this Netflix nightmare is that it's not even the worst example of Meghan's pattern of celebrity rejection. The growing list of celebrities who have distanced themselves from Meghan Markle reads like a masterclass in how to systematically destroy every meaningful relationship in Hollywood. And the pattern is so consistent that it's actually being studied by industry professionals as an example of what not to do. What makes this rejection pattern even more devastating is that many of these celebrities initially tried to support Meghan, only to be burned by her behavior and left with no choice but to cut ties. The message being sent throughout the entertainment industry is crystal clear: getting involved with Meghan Markle is a career liability that nobody can afford. Let's examine the most shocking example of this pattern, which involves Meghan's own family relationships within Hollywood circles. Jessica Mulroney, who was once considered Meghan's closest friend and strongest supporter, has been completely cut out of her life after a social media controversy that Meghan could have easily helped resolve. Instead of standing by someone who had been loyal to her for years, Meghan threw Jessica under the bus the moment it became convenient. This sent shockwaves through celebrity circles, because it demonstrated that even Meghan's most devoted friends weren't safe from being discarded when they became inconvenient. The Millie McIntosh situation reveals another disturbing aspect of Meghan's relationship patterns. Millie, a British reality star who genuinely tried to welcome Meghan into UK social circles, was dropped the moment Meghan started dating Prince Harry. Sources close to the situation revealed that Meghan literally stopped returning Millie's calls and messages once she decided that reality TV connections were beneath her new royal status. The message this sent to other celebrities was unmistakable: Meghan would use you for what you could offer, and then discard you when someone better came along. But perhaps the most telling example of this rejection pattern is how Meghan has been forced to align herself with other cancelled or controversial figures, because those are the only celebrities willing to associate with her brand anymore. The signing of Chrissy Teigen for her lifestyle brand wasn't a strategic coup, it was a desperate move by someone who had run out of options. Chrissy, who has her own history of social media controversies and public relations disasters, represents the only tier of celebrity that Meghan can still access. It's a far cry from the A-list endorsements she once dreamed of securing. Industry insiders are revealing that even Meghan's attempts to court the Kardashian family have largely failed. Despite multiple efforts to ingratiate herself with the reality TV dynasty, while there have been occasional social media interactions, the Kardashians have been notably careful not to provide any substantial endorsements or collaborations. Even a family that built their empire on controversy and publicity has apparently decided that association with Meghan carries too many risks and too few benefits. The most damaging aspect of this celebrity rejection pattern is that it's creating a self-perpetuating cycle of isolation. As more high-profile celebrities distance themselves from Meghan, it becomes increasingly difficult for her to attract new supporters. Nobody wants to be the first to break ranks and associate with someone who has been so comprehensively rejected by their peers. The social proof that drives so much of Hollywood culture is working completely against Meghan, making her toxic brand even more radioactive. What makes this pattern particularly tragic is that many of these rejections could have been avoided if Meghan had approached relationships with even basic levels of loyalty, gratitude, and strategic thinking. Instead, she's created a reputation for being someone who burns bridges, exploits friendships, and prioritizes short-term gains over long-term relationship building. And the most devastating part of this celebrity rejection pattern is that it's exposing the fundamental impossibility of Meghan's Hollywood dreams. The single biggest strategic mistake of Meghan Markle's entire career was severing her connection to the royal family, because that royal association was literally the only thing that made her interesting to Hollywood's elite in the first place. What we're witnessing now is the complete collapse of her relevance, as that royal connection becomes more and more distant, leaving her with absolutely nothing to offer A-list celebrities who are accustomed to dealing with people who have real power, real influence, and real cultural significance. The royal connection catastrophe represents the moment when Meghan's entire Hollywood strategy was revealed to be built on a foundation that she herself destroyed. Let's be brutally honest about what Meghan was before she married Prince Harry. She was a supporting actress on a cable television show that most people had never heard of, running a lifestyle blog that had middling traffic and struggling to get any meaningful spotlight in an industry that's notoriously difficult to break into. Her talent level, charisma, and industry connections were all completely ordinary, which is why she remained a C-list actress despite years of trying to climb the Hollywood ladder. The only thing that changed her status was becoming the Duchess of Sussex. And the moment she walked away from that role, she lost the only currency that mattered in celebrity circles. Industry sources are revealing just how dramatic this fall from relevance has been, by comparing celebrity behavior before and after Meghan's royal departure. When she was a working member of the royal family, A-listers were literally competing for invitations to events where she might be present. The wedding invitation list read like an Academy Awards guest roster, with celebrities who had never met her personally still desperate to be associated with royal glamour. But now those same celebrities are actively avoiding photo opportunities with her, even at private social gatherings. The contrast with how celebrities treat the working royals versus how they treat Meghan couldn't be more stark or more humiliating. When Prince William and Princess Catherine attend events, they're surrounded by genuine A-list enthusiasm. Taylor Swift's backstage meeting with William and his children generated millions of social media impressions and genuine excitement from fans around the world. Meanwhile, Meghan's appearances at celebrity events are met with polite tolerance at best, and strategic avoidance at worst. What makes this royal connection catastrophe even more devastating is that Meghan had every opportunity to maintain her relevance while pursuing Hollywood projects. Sarah Ferguson, for example, managed to maintain connections to royal circles even after her divorce from Prince Andrew, allowing her to leverage those relationships for decades. But Meghan chose to burn every bridge, attack the institution publicly, and position herself as an enemy of the very family that gave her global recognition in the first place. The entertainment industry operates on a hierarchy that places royalty above even the biggest celebrities, because royal status represents something that money cannot buy and talent cannot achieve. You're either born into it or you marry into it. And once you have it, it opens doors that remain permanently closed to everyone else. Celebrities like George Clooney, David Beckham, and Taylor Swift may be incredibly famous and wealthy, but they still understand that royal connections represent a level of prestige and historical significance that their careers alone cannot provide. Sources within Hollywood circles are revealing that the royal connection catastrophe has made Meghan essentially irrelevant to the kind of celebrities she desperately wants to associate with. Without the Sussex title carrying real meaning and royal backing, she's just another former actress trying to build a lifestyle brand in an incredibly crowded marketplace. The magic and mystique that once surrounded her have completely evaporated, leaving behind someone who offers nothing unique or valuable to people who already have everything. But the most tragic aspect of this royal connection catastrophe is that it reveals the ultimate impossibility of Meghan's current situation. What we're witnessing with Meghan Markle represents something truly unprecedented in modern celebrity culture, a complete and irreversible destruction of opportunities that can never be recovered or recreated. Industry insiders are now openly stating what many have whispered for months: Meghan has reached a point of no return, where the damage to her reputation, relationships, and brand is so comprehensive that no amount of PR rehabilitation can save her Hollywood dreams. The most devastating aspect of this situation is that she can never make amends with Queen Elizabeth II or Prince Philip, both of whom died while bearing the weight of her public attacks. The Commonwealth accusations and racism allegations will forever hang over any attempt at reconciliation. You cannot apologize to the dead, and you cannot undo the pain caused to elderly family members in their final years. Even if Meghan wanted to attempt reconciliation with surviving royals, the level of public admission required would destroy the entire persona she's built. She would have to admit the Oprah interview was filled with lies, that racism allegations were unfounded, and that her victim narrative was a calculated strategy. The pride and narcissism that drove her to this point makes such admissions psychologically impossible. But here's what makes her situation truly hopeless. The entertainment industry has moved on completely. While she's obsessing over conspiracy theories, Hollywood has continued creating new stars and building relationships with people who deliver actual value. Industry veterans point to her trajectory as a masterclass in career destruction through strategic incompetence. The brutal truth nobody wants to tell Meghan is that she was never as important as she thought, and now she's exactly as irrelevant as she feared. The point of no return isn't just about damaged relationships. It's about the complete collapse of delusions that were never based in reality. So what do you think about Meghan's complete Hollywood downfall? Drop your thoughts below. Like and subscribe and stay tuned, because the next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.